He claimed a law change was needed, but it took just a stroke of Donald Trump's pen to reverse a policy which has seen thousands of parents separated from their children at the US-Mexican border. His administration's zero-tolerance policy against illegal immigration has resulted in more than 2,300 children being separated from their parents. And as Bridget Burke reports, there's been anger from the New York mayor who had no idea his city was housing some of those children, one of them a 9-month-old baby.
We're signing an executive order. I consider to be a very important executive order. It's about keeping families together while at the same time being sure that we have a very powerful, very strong border, and border security will be equal, if not greater than previously.
A U-turn from US President Donald Trump following global outcry against separating migrant children from their parents at the Mexican border. Video footage of children in cages and this audio recording of a child crying and asking a guard for their father sparked anger across the United States from groups ranging from clergy to influential business leaders, as well as condemnation from abroad, including Pope Francis.
So we're keeping families together, and this will solve that problem. At the same time, we are keeping a very powerful border, and it continues to be a zero tolerance. We have zero tolerance for people that enter our country illegally.
The order requires immigrant families now be detained together when caught entering the country illegally, although it was not immediately clear for how long. It also prioritises parents with children. However, it does not end the zero tolerance policy that calls for the criminal prosecution of immigrants crossing the border illegally. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said he was shocked and angry to learn the federal government had not told him the Cayuga Center in Harlem is currently hosting 239 immigrant children.
Our message to the federal government is simple. Stop this right now. Stop this broken, inhumane policy right now. And come clean with the truth. Who are these children? How many are they? Where are they? What is happening here? How is it possible that none of us knew there were 239 kids right here in our own city? How is the federal government holding back that information from the people of this city and holding back the help that these kids could need?
Mr. de Blasio said over 350 children, including babies as young as 9 months, had arrived since the zero tolerance policy came into force last month.
One of the children, I talked about him earlier, a young man named Eddie, 9 years old, from Honduras. He was sent here 2,000 miles on a bus to this location and does not know when he's going to see his mother again.
Speaking from a Mexican border town, postal worker Epigmenio Centeno says he and his wife shelved plans to cross the border into the United States for fear of being separated from his sons, 9-year-old Axel and 3-year-old Stephen. The family had fled El Salvador, hoping for asylum in the United States, but would for the moment stay in Mexico, where Mr. Centeno said it was safer and he could get a low-paid job in a seafood restaurant. US officials say there are no immediate plans to reunite children who have already been separated, despite the executive order, meaning children could remain for the moment in detention centres like this one, visited by Reuters reporter Mike Blake in Tornillo, Texas.
I've just flown over a makeshift tent camp where the Department of Homeland Security is housing children, some taken from their parents. It's not far off the Mexican border next to the US, and there were a dozen tents or so. There were a number of kids out lined up, marching them between the tents down to one end of the facility. It's all very systematically designed. It's very hot here. It's 105. I didn't see any kids out playing anywhere, but they're inside the tents, probably cooling off.
A White House official said First Lady Melania Trump in private conversations with the president had urged him to act. The turnaround marks a rare instance since Mr. Trump took office in January 2017, in which he has overturned a controversial policy.
No, Ivanka feels very strongly. My wife feels very strongly about it. I feel very strongly about it. I think anybody with a heart would feel very strongly about it. We don't like to see families separated. At the same time, we don't want people coming into our country illegally. This takes care of the problem. Thank you very much, everybody.
For Checkpoint, Bridget Burke.